Hello everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with my August 2020 book haul. So this is going to be all of the books that I picked up back in August. So man, there's a lot of stuff here to talk about, which it's like I don't realize how much I'm gathering throughout the month. When I put it all together at the end to actually film this video, it's when it hits me. It's like,
wow. Where are you going to fit all this stuff?
I just genuinely don't know, but I've been saying that for like 3 months straight now, and I still haven't stopped. But you go to the thrift store, you're paying 50 cents a book. It's like, how can I not grab it if it looks interesting? And then I have thrift store buys in here. I have Ollies bargain outlet finds in here. Second and Charles finds in here. It was just a good month. A great month for book buying. If you are interested in what other media I picked up this month, definitely check out my August 2020 media pickups video, because I'll talk about, Blu-rays, DVDs, 4K movies, and I talk about a video game I grabbed and some pop figures that I ended up grabbing last month. So check that one out. I will warn you, it is a long one, but frankly, that's what you should come to expect by now if you are subscribed to my channel, because I tend to ramble on like I'm doing right now. So I'm going to shut myself up and just get on with the haul. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. I guess this is as good a place to start as any other, and this technically is a September grab because I think it released on September 1st. I don't know. I received it on September 1st, so it shipped in August. I'm including it today because I don't want to keep it out for the next month. We have the brand new release of R.L. Stine's Fear Street, and as you can see, the subtitle is The Beginning. So this is a really cool find. It's a big chunky one, nice and floppy. Gotta love that. But what's so great about this is that it contains the first 4 original Fear Street novels. It's just all in one paperback, one big omnibus style book. So I'm trying to remember the titles of all 4 of them, and I can't recall. So let me see if I can find them in here. Here we are. The New Girl, The Surprise Party, The Overnight, and Missing are all 4 books that are included in this one, let's see, about almost just shy of 550 page novel. So, or paperback rather. So I am very happy to have this. I was thinking back, and I know I have read Fear Street. I did read it when I was younger, but I don't recall any of them. I was much more of a point horror guy. I read a ton, the Babysitter books, which I've talked about on this channel. Like something like Hit and Run, I know was a point horror book from R.L. Stine. So I love Stine's Goosebumps work. I like his point horror work. So now I'm going to check out, and actually the 4 are listed right there as well. But now I'm going to check out some of these Fear Street novels that I may or may not have read. Excited to have this one. It was brand new. It was like 13 bucks, I think, on Amazon. And it's one of those very rare instances where I bought a book new. So cannot wait to dive into this one. Very excited to have this Fear Street collection. Fear Street, The Beginning by R.L. Stine in my collection. That will segue nicely into my Ollies haul from last month. So this next stack of books I'm going to show you are all from Ollies Bargain Outlet, which if you have one by you, check it out because it is a mecca for cheap books and cheap graphic novels. So definitely check it out if you have one near you. But this is also from R.L. Stine, Return to Fear Street. So this is one that I actually grabbed I think it was like the second book in the series of this from Books A Million a few months back. And I held off on this one. I don't really know why, but I didn't pick it up that day. Unfortunately, I didn't because this was only $2 at Ollies. If I'm not wrong, I think this is book 1 in the Return to Fear Street series, and then The Wrong Girl, which is the one I already have, that's book 2. So I've not read any of this series yet, but again, it's part of Fear Street, and it's R.L. Stine, so I'm interested. So we'll check out this one. But R.L. Stine's Return to Fear Street, You May Now Kill the Bride, $2 at Ollies. And that brings us to our Ollies graphic novel finds, and what an awesome month. I'm actually a little bit disappointed in myself because I picked up the one I'm about to show you, and then I didn't pick up the 4th one in the series, thinking, oh, I don't have number 3, I want to wait. The next weekend, I said to myself, well, no, pick it up because you might find the 3rd one eventually. I went back and it was gone, of course, but that's how it goes. But we have, this thing is heavier than Hades, but it's The Walking Dead Compendium 2. Take a look at the thickness of this bad boy. It is a thick boy. My goodness. This is gigantic, but it is The Walking Dead. And so this contains issues number 49 through 96 of the Walking Dead series. Now, this was $10 at Ollies. The cover price on this is $60, so that's a really good deal. I have the first compendium of this, and I intend to read it very shortly. I've been in a Walking Dead mood lately, so I think I'm going to start that compendium 1 pretty quickly here. But now I have compendium 2. Unfortunately, I still need 3 and 4, but hey, the first 2 aren't bad. Like, see, I have 96 issues to go through before I need to worry about having compendium 3 or 4 yet. So very awesome to find this for so cheap. If you guys have been watching these videos this year, you'll know that I also started grabbing some of the Star Wars graphic novels because they were ending up at Ollies across the country. And I grabbed some more that they didn't have on the first time I went, so on my first trip. So this is Star Wars Poe Dameron, and this is book number 3, or not book number 3, this would be volume 3 of that series, Legend Lost. I have the first volume, I do not have the second volume, but I learned my lesson with Walking Dead. Just pick it up. It's cheap. These graphic novels are like $4 or so, $3 or $4 at Ollies. And so even if I don't have the second one, I eventually can get it, even if I have to pay full price, but get it because it's so cheap. So Poe Dameron, Volume 3, Legend Lost from Star Wars. The next handful are all Star Wars. So this is Mace Windu, Jedi of the Republic, and this is one of the one-shots. So there's no volume number here. There's like a mini series of them. I think in my first haul of these, I grabbed like Han Solo, Lando Calrissian was in there. My goodness, I was forgetting his name for a second. And so this is just another of those mini series of that series. So cool to find. Again, super cheap. And another single volume here, and this is, does not have a number on the spine either, but this is Star Wars Vader Down. And so this one, I believe, takes place after like the first couple volumes of the, like the standard Star Wars series, but I don't know for sure. But I had to pick it up because it was so cheap. So Star Wars Vader Down. These next 3 are super cool because they are all part of the Legends line, and so they're real big, thick books. The art in them looks amazing, but it's more classic Star Wars. So this is Star Wars The New Republic, the Epic Collection. And so this is Volume 2. So this is The New Republic Volume 2, which a lot of these, honestly, I think they kind of stand alone. So this one, as you can see there, like it says, these stories take place after Episode 6. So it tells you where they take place in the canon of Star Wars. I say canon. These are all not canon because they are the Legends line. But again, I don't care about canon or not. So this takes place after Episode 6. So I can read these now and be totally caught up because I have read through obviously I've seen the movies, but I've read through the novelizations as well. So Star Wars, The New Republic, Volume 2. And again, this is from the Legends line. Another epic collection, and this is Star Wars The Empire. And this is Volume 2 of The Empire. And you can see here that this one takes place between Episode 3 and Episode 4. So this one I'm super interested in checking out. Anything with Vader on the cover is just fascinating to me. So I'm super excited to see what this one's all about. So another really cool epic collection, Star Wars The Empire Volume 2. And then finally, the third epic collection I was able to find, this is the original Marvel years. So Star Wars Epic Collection, the original Marvel years. And this one is Volume 1. And you can see that these stories take place between Episode 4 and Episode 5. So Volume 1, very cool. This art is notably different. You know, it's going to be like that 70s, 80s style of Marvel art, or, you know, just comic book art in general. So not the biggest fan of the art from that era, but I imagine that these stories will be worth reading because they are set in the Star Wars universe. And what I'm coming to find is that anything set in the Star Wars universe, I have enjoyed in one way or another. So I imagine this will follow suit. So Star Wars, the Epic Collection, the original Marvel years, and this is Volume 1. 2 more graphic novels from Ollies, and these are so cool. I didn't know these existed, but now I am very happy to have them. Look at this. This is awesome. Night of the Living Dead, Volume 1, The Sins of the Father. And this is by Jean-Luc Iston and Elia Bonetti. So this is actually a retelling of Night of the Living Dead. It is as it says on the back, a modern rewrite of a cult film. And so I have to check these out. They are in these giant oversized hardcovers. And yeah, let's just take a look at some of the art here, just to give you an idea of what you're dealing with. This is so fascinating to me. I'd never heard of these before, and I saw it at the, at Ollies, and of course I had to pick it up. Night of the Living Dead Volume 1. Have you guys heard of this? Is this something you knew was coming out? Please let me know about this in the comments section down below if you know anything more about it. So awesome to have this in the collection. I should have put this one with the other one, but this is Night of the Living Dead Volume 2, and this is called Mandy's Demons. So again, you have the modern rewrite of the film, and it just continues on in this series. Now, frankly, I have no idea how long the series goes. This might be the entire thing. I don't know, but I have the first 2 volumes now, so very happy to have both of these. All right, I guess from there, I'll go to my Second and Charles haul. And first up is one that was in the free bin outside, which is my favorite part of the store because it's free. So we have a Little Faith by Mitch Albom. So I am not a religious person at all, but I'm a huge Mitch Albom fan. I think he is an incredible writer. He is a local writer here in Detroit, and his sports writing is what really drew me to him initially. But then I think my mom, on a whim, picked up the 5 People You Meet in Heaven, which was, I believe, if not his first book, it was one of his first books, and I really enjoyed that one quite a bit. And so I have read 5 People You Meet in Heaven, and then Tuesdays with Maury, I read that one as well. And so now I have a Little Faith, and I want to check this one out. His books are usually super easy to get through, and they're really short. Like this one's only 257 pages, but like the pages are not difficult to get through. So this is one, it's actually more of a memoir or a nonfiction story versus his other works. And so I believe how this one is that he actually adopts this 9-year-old girl who is going through some medical issues. And it's just the story of how his life as they go through that, I guess. I'm imagining it's going to be one that is going to make me tear up quite a bit, given what I've read of it from the synopsis, but we'll see. So again, a free book. I'm not going to pass up a free Mitch Albom book. So this is Have a Little Faith by Mitch Albom. I'll show these next 2 together because they're part of the same series. And frankly, I never heard of either of these. I love going through the middle grade section at Second and Charles because they have a vast number of books that I've just never heard of before. And so when I was there last time, I had a little time. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start at A and just work my way all the way through. If you guys have been watching the channel, you'll know that I purchase a lot of middle grade horror and a lot of middle grade sci-fi, but I don't have a ton of legitimate fantasy in the middle grade world. And so these looked like they would be just that. So this is called the Night Scares series. And this is book number 1, which is called Cauldron Cooker's Night. And then book number 2, which is Skull in the Birdcage. So these look like they're just a ton of fun, crazy fantasy stuff. It almost reminds me or feels like a Dungeons and Dragons story set in a middle grade world. What's really cool about these though is that both of them are signed by the authors, which there are 2 authors, David Anthony and Charles David. I can't really read what they say, but hey, it's still cool that they're both signed. That's book number 2, and then book number 1 is signed as well. So pretty cool find. I don't know anything about the series, but they looked fun. They had the first 6 or 7 books in the series, and so if I want more, I can always go back and get them, but I wanted to start with the first 2 just to see how they were, and they were really cheap. They were less than $2 each, so I figured I'd give it a shot for that cheap price. So Night Scares book 1, which is called Cauldron Cooker's Night, and book 2, which is called Skull in the Birdcage. The last finds from Second and Charles are 3 books that I'm going to show at the same time. And this is a series, again, it would fall into the fantasy realm, middle grade fantasy. Some things I was looking at actually put these in the YA realm, but I would stick it with middle grade until I read it because that's the section I found it in. But it is the 7th Tower series. So I was able to grab book 1 of the 7th Tower, which is The Fall, book 2, Castle, and book 3, which is Rainier, I guess, Renir. And so I was able to find the first 3 books in that series, which is just really cool. I've heard that these are just excellent. This is an excellent series. And so I really was excited when I came across these. I've not seen them there before, and they only had the first 3 books. I think there is 6 altogether, and so I will definitely be on the lookout for the rest of them. But this is one I want to get to relatively soon because I've heard so many great things about it. So look for this in an upcoming TBR video in the not too far future. So we have the 7th Tower series, book 1, The Fall, book 2, Castle, and book 3, Rainier. All right, so next up is the Dollar Tree haul. I actually found a surprising number of books at the Dollar Tree, which frankly shouldn't be that surprising because if you've watched the channel, you'll know that I had 3 separate Dollar Tree pickup videos this past month. So the fact that I also looked at the books should not surprise anybody. But I'm going to start with the movie tie-in novels, or media tie-in novels rather. And the first one is Pacific Rim Uprising Ascension. So this is the book that actually would take place in between Pacific Rim and Pacific Rim Uprising. It is the prequel to Uprising. So this was really cool to find, especially if you know me. You know how much I love having media tie-in books in my collection. So this was a great one, and it's just in perfect condition. And I should mention that this one is written by Greg Keyes. So Pacific Rim Uprising Ascension by Greg Keyes. Another media tie-in novel. This is the official movie novelization to Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. And this one was written by Christy Golden. So I've not seen this film yet, but I have heard good things about it, so I definitely want to check it out. Unfortunately, this one had a little dog ear on the cover. That was a little disappointing, but it was the only one there, and so of course I was going to grab it. I have not seen this at any other Dollar Tree but the one I found it at, so happy to have Valerian the Novelization in my collection. And the last media tie-in book, very random, very cool. This is God of War, and this was written by Matthew Stover and Robert E. Vardaman. So this is actually from what I can tell, the novelization to the original game that came out on PlayStation 2. So I don't know why this came out so much later, but this was released in... Well, it doesn't give a date on the book, but I believe it was 2010 when I was looking at it on Goodreads. So, yeah, completely random. You know, I have played the original God of War, but I turned it on to a harder difficulty and got stuck halfway through, and I said screw it, and then I never went back to it. So I do have the PS3 collection, so I do want to play it again, but yeah, I thought this was a really cool find. God of War, the novelization to the game, so awesome. This is one I grabbed because I know the author and I've heard good things about it. This is Head On by John Scalzi. So this is actually, even though you read it, it does talk about it being like a standalone, yeah, from one of the most popular authors in modern science fiction, a standalone, near-future thriller set in the New York Times bestselling Lock-In universe. So I saw the word standalone and grabbed it. I didn't finish that whole paragraph, but I thought it was standalone. Everything I read about this says, hey, read Lock-In, or whatever it is. Yeah, Lock-In. Read Lock-In first before Head On, and so I probably do that. Fortunately, I actually have Lock-In on Audible, so I already own that one, so I can check it out. But this is the sequel, but not. It's just set in the same universe as that one, so I'll check this one out once I get through Lock-In. But we have John Scalzi's Head On. You guys know I love my hard case crime books, and the dollar store always has them. And so I found 2 more new ones there. We have, and these are actually both Michael Crichton books. He was writing as John Lang on both of these, but we have, what is this? Zero Cool, and then Scratch 1. So yeah, awesome when I find these at the dollar store, which just happens quite often, which is very cool for me. So 2 Michael Crichton books, Scratch 1 and Zero Cool with, I mean, look at those covers. They are gorgeous. I love these covers so much. Always happy to have a hard case crime book in my collection. So 2 more added to that collection. This was a random true crime book I found at the dollar store, and this is called A Deadly Secret, written by Matt Birkbeck. And this is the bizarre and chilling story of Robert Durst. So that name might be familiar with you because of the docu-series called The Jinx, which I believe was on HBO. And I believe it's about Robert Durst. And I don't know what he did, to be honest with you. I have not seen that series yet. It's been, or it might not even have been a series. It might have just been a movie. I don't recall. But I haven't watched that yet, even though I definitely intend to eventually. But this is the novel form, essentially, of that story. So I'm definitely interested in checking this one out. So A Deadly Secret, written by Mac Birkbeck. This next one is not one I would normally pick up, but I've been watching, I believe it's Chandler Ainsley, I believe is her name, on BookTube, and she is all about romance books, and so I guess subliminally it just said, hey, it's a romance, check it out, see how it is. This one sounded interesting. This is Blaze, written by Lori Boyle Crompton, excuse me, but the subtitle here is Blaze, or Love in the Time of Supervillains. So that was enough, I guess, to pique my interest, and I decided to pick it up. So let's see. This is Blaze is tired of spending her life on the side. So her name is Blaze, which is just fantastic. All she wants is Mark, the soccer stud, to notice her, not as Josh's weird sister who drives a turd brown minivan, and not as the nerdy girl who draws comics. So you can see in here there actually are some drawings in here as well. It's not a graphic novel by any stretch, but there are random drawings in here. So we'll see how this is. I don't know if I will get to this one or not, but it was kind of just, hey, it's there. It sounds semi-decent. Just pick it up. So Blaze, or Love in the Time of Supervillains, written by Laurie Boyle Crompton. This next one, I wish you could feel the cover because it is really cool feeling, and that's frankly the reason I grabbed it, but this is called Read Me, written by Leo Benedictus. It has this really nice cover. It's just, I love the cover. It's so minimalist, but it's gorgeous. And this is supposed to be a thriller, like a mystery thriller, and it sounded really interesting. The reason I was intrigued is because of this little clip right here. It says, Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window meets Claire Messud's The Woman Upstairs in this unnerving, superbly crafted novel that takes a reader deep inside the mind of a serial killer, and through him, the lives of his unsuspecting victims. So, sounds really interesting. I definitely want to check this one out. So, Read Me, written by Leo Benedictus. When I'm at the dollar store, really it's only a good tagline or a good blurb that really is enough to get me, and that's what happened here. This is called The Feed. This is like a post-apocalyptic novel, and the tagline here is, their whole world was in the feed, and now their world is gone. But why I really picked it up was because of the comparison here. Think The Road, intricately wrapped around Station 11 with a dash of Oryx and Crake. So I picked up an Oryx and Crake novel a few months ago. I have not touched it yet, but I knew that one, and so I was like, yeah, I've heard of all of these. They all are supposed to be really good. All things I enjoy, post-apocalyptic. It sounds pretty cool. So we'll see how this one is. If nothing, that cover art is pretty great. So we'll check out The Feed. And this one is written by Nick Clark Window. If you've checked this one out already, please let me know how it is down in the comments below. So you might notice some new clothes. That's because after putting all of the footage from last night into my laptop, unfortunately, the third part did not have any audio. So we are back here again. This is the next day, and I am going to continue from where I left off yesterday. So let's get right back to it. Continuing through with my graphic novels from the Dollar Tree, this is an adaptation of a prose novel. This is City of Clowns, written by Daniel Alarcon and Sheila Alvarado. So this one is very much so a graphic novel. I know I always call like the trade paperbacks, I always refer to them as graphic novels, but this one is definitely a traditional graphic novel. So this one sounds pretty interesting. We'll see how it is. It is a journalist whose father passed away, and he comes to find out that he is not his only family, and so it's how he's going to deal with that. So sounds pretty interesting. City of Clowns by Daniel Alarcon and Sheila Alvarado. Next up is one that sounds really good. This is Spill Zone by Scott Westerfield and Alex Puvaland. And so this is about a city who is quarantined off from the rest of the country because they have some type of chemical spill. And the art on this looks really good. Let me find some here. Looks awesome. So I'm really excited to read this one. This is book 1 of a series. I don't know how long the series goes, but I'm hoping I enjoy this one and then can track down the next one. So Spill Zone by Scott Westerfield and Alex Puvaland. And the last graphic novel I found at the Dollar Tree is super random. This is the original movie adaptation for Independence Day. So that movie was like, what, 96? Somewhere in there. This one came out 20 years later in 2016. So completely random. Have no idea why it's been sitting around for so long at the Dollar Tree, but there it is. It does look like one that came from the thrift store because it is a little bit beat up, but that's okay. I paid $1. I'm not too terribly concerned about it. So Independence Day graphic novel, the original movie adaptation. Such a random and bizarre find from the Dollar Tree, but as a movie tie-in or a media tie-in collector, I'm very happy to have it. So moving from the Dollar Tree, now the rest of these are all of my thrift finds, and I have a bunch, so bear with. First up is another graphic novel. This is Pinocchio, Vampire Slayer. I don't really think I need to say too much else because that sounds amazing. This is written by Van Jensen and Dusty Higgins, and I believe this is like book 1 or volume 1 of this series. It is all black and white, but it is about Pinocchio becoming a vampire slayer. So yes, that sounds pretty darn cool. This is a Dean Koontz novel that has been recommended to me in the past, and frankly, whenever I find a Dean Koontz novel that I don't own, that's in decent shape, I pick it up from the thrift store, and this is Strangers. So this is one that is a super super chunker. So this is like almost 700 pages, mass market paperback, so it's not big font or anything. So this is one I will likely do on audiobook as opposed to the mass market paperback, but like Stephen King, you know, I want to have his books in my collection. Again, I haven't even read a Kuntz novel yet, so I'm just assuming I will enjoy him. But I don't have any desire to have all of Kuntz's novels, just the ones that look interesting as I'm browsing through the thrift store, and this one does. So, Strangers by Dean Koontz. This is a book that I heard about thanks to Serial at Midnight, the YouTube channel, and this is Don Pendleton's Mac Bolan, and this is Kill Shot. So this is like an action series kind of in the same vein as like James Bond, something like that. Even a little bit like Quarry, though Quarry is a little bit more connected than these are. But this is just an action book from, let's see, I think these started in like the 70s or 80s, maybe earlier, I don't know. But this one was released in 2011, it looks like. So yeah, this is like book 40 something or 30 something in this super long running series. But yeah, I will check it out eventually and see how it is. Don Pendleton's Mac Bolan, Kill Shot. I love finding Lois Duncan books at the thrift store. Lois Duncan, of course, is the person who wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer, which, to be honest, I haven't read the book, but I do love the film, so I'm hoping I'll enjoy the book when I get to it. But I found another one. This is Killing Mr. Griffin. This is basically, let's see, I'll read the description here. They only planned to scare their English teacher. They didn't mean to kill him, but sometimes even the best laid plans go wrong. So, looks pretty fun. Killing Mr. Griffin by Lois Duncan. This is one, of course, the author has come under scrutiny this past year or so here. So, you know, not supporting what they stand for, but I do enjoy the book series. This is Harry Potter, The Tales of Beedle the Bard by J.K. Rowling. This is like the other, there's like a 3-book series with this. The other one is Fantastic Beasts, and I can never remember what the third one is, but I don't have any of them, so I wanted to add this to the collection. It is a hardcover, which is always cool, so yeah, we'll see how this one is when I get around to it. I found a couple books from Rick Riordan, who I've never read, but have always heard really good things about. So I have from the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series, this is book number 5, The Last Olympian. And then from the Heroes of Olympus series, we have book 1, The Lost Hero. So I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I know virtually nothing about Rick Riordan, but I believe that this series here, the Heroes of Olympus, takes place in the same universe that Percy Jackson does. So I believe the correct reading order is to read Percy Jackson first, and then you can kind of branch out to the rest of his work. So I want to track down book number 1 of this very soon, because I want to give this series a shot. It's more, you know, fantasy-laden middle grade, which I'm always interested in. So Rick Riordan's 2 books here, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, book number 5, The Last Olympian, and the Heroes of Olympus, The Lost Hero, which is book number 1. So 2 very cool finds. This is one that I was super excited to come across. I've not read any of these books, and I got them from the thrift store, which is normally 50 cents a book. Fortunately, the gentleman at the counter is super nice and was marked all of these as one book because it was one set. So this is the Chronicles of Narnia. So I have all 7 books now, and it's in, you know, the outer case isn't in the best shape. The books seem to be fine, so I'm very happy to have this. You can see on the bottom here, it normally retails for like $45, I believe it is. Yeah, and so I got it all, this entire box set for 50 cents. It was probably the bargain of this haul. It was awesome. So excited to read these. I know these are listed 1 through 7, but I don't believe this is the order I will read them in, because there is like the publication order and then there is the author's preferred order, which I guess I need to do some research. Let me know if you know which is the best way to do it. I don't know. So we'll check them out eventually. But all 7 books of the Chronicles of Narnia series. Such a cool find. If you guys have been following the channel, you know that earlier this year I was on a cozy mystery kick. Specifically, I was collecting a bunch of Murder, She Wrote books. Well, another one that is a cozy mystery series based on a television program is the Monk series. So all of these are written by Lee Goldberg, and this is book number 3, I want to say, in the series. I can't remember exactly offhand. I always loved watching the show when it was on. I'm a big fan of Monk. I think, you know, it's just excellently acted and it's just a ton of fun. So I want to see how the cozy mystery series is to go along with it. So Monk, and this is Mr. Monk and the Blue Flu, written by Lee Goldberg. Last year, I ended up reading the Hunger Games trilogy, but I did it on audiobook because they released a new audiobook trilogy and it was fantastic. But I am trying to collect all the books in physical form. And so now I have the second book in the Hunger Games series, which is Catching Fire. And these are, of course, written by Suzanne Collins. So I love this trilogy. I think it is just fantastic. I have not yet read the prequel, which just released this year. I definitely intend to grab that eventually. But yeah, in the meantime, I will continue to pick up these as I go. Honestly, I can't remember if I have Mockingjay yet, which would be the third book. I know I have Hunger Games, the original, but I don't know if I have book 3 yet, so we'll see. But I now have book 1 and book 2 at the very least of this trilogy, which I'm happy to have in the collection. Next up is from an author who is very, very popular and important. I've just never read any books from him. And this is Kurt Vonnegut's Cat's Cradle. So this is apparently it's a post-apocalyptic or an apocalyptic tale that is a satirical commentary on the modern man and his madness, according to the back of the book. So it sounds like it'd be something right up my alley. And it's one that I've always heard about, but I've never read. So now I own it. And it is just an awesome copy. Look at how floppy it is, and the font is nice and spread apart. This is one I will definitely be reading in the physical form. Excited to get to this one. So, Kurt Vonnegut's Cat's Cradle. Next up is a random Goosebumps book, which frankly is one of my favorite in the series that I've read so far. This is One Day at Horrorland. This is really cool because it takes place at an amusement park, and it's just a genuinely creepy story. Like, I really enjoyed it. And look at that ticket that they have on the front cover there. Like, that's awesome. So this is a really good one. I am happy to have in the physical form now. So Goosebumps, One Day at Horrorland by R.L. Stine. We're down to our final two, and they are both big, chunky ones. So first up is the post-apocalyptic Swan Song, and this is written by Robert McCammon. So I own other books from McCammon. I've never actually read them. I think I actually picked up a couple audiobooks recently from McCammon as well. So I'm definitely excited to check him out. But let's turn it this way. Oh my goodness, this thing is gigantic. And like the pages are huge and loaded with tons of text. It's not big text. Like, this is one I will definitely do on audiobook as opposed to the physical paperback that I have, but I do want this in my collection still. So this is a real thick one. It's like, well, how many pages? Like 800 and, yeah, just shy of 850 pages. So it's a thick one. It is a post-apocalyptic tale. It's basically McCammon's The Stand. You know, it's the equivalent of Stephen King's The Stand, but for Robert McCammon. I've heard really good things about it, and I definitely want to read it at some point. It's just one I'll likely do on audiobook, but still happy to have Swan Song by Robert McCammon in the collection. And last but not least is the, I guess, kind of the sequel trilogy to a book I ended up finishing last month, and that's The Hobbit. We have The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. So this is not one of the books, two of the books. It is all 3 of the Lord of the Rings books put into one massive tome. So this is another one. Like, this font is even closer together and even smaller. So, man, oh man. But fortunately, there are 3 different books in here, so I understand why they did that. But this is just a cool find. Again, 50 cents at the thrift store. I'm not going to pass it up because I don't own any of these in paperback form. So now I have all of them. I think I will do the Lord of the Rings trilogy on audiobook, but hey, I have the paperback form now as well in case I want to go that route. So the Lord of the Rings, the 1-volume edition, as it's called here, by J.R.R. Tolkien, and that's the last book I grabbed this past month. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for my August 2020 book haul. I thank you so much for sticking with it to the end if you made it this far. It was another packed month filled with books. Again, if you want to see what other media I grabbed last month, including movies, Funko Pops, video games, and so on, check out my August media pickups video. That one is super long, probably even longer than this one's going to turn out to be, because I got a ton of stuff last month. It was awesome. So definitely check that out if you're interested. Let me know down in the comments below, is there anything that I should prioritize? Is there anything that you've read and didn't like, so I can kind of push that to the back of the line? Let me know down in the comments below, and also let me know what you picked up last month. I'd love to have more of a conversation with you guys down in the comments below. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to Cinefessions here on YouTube. And if not, thank you anyway for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. And I also want to just say thank you from the bottom of my heart. As of the recording of this video, I managed to hit 400 subscribers, which is just kind of mind-blowing to me. You know, my goal at the beginning of the year when I posted my first video was to hit 100 subscribers by 2021. And we are at 400 now, which is just amazing. So thank you guys so much for subscribing, and thank you for sharing this if you choose to do that. I really do appreciate all of the support. It means the world to me, so thank you. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today. Again, I just want to say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.